Students and families across Central Texas are gearing up to head back to school. In fact, many districts going just today for the first time. While some kids are excited to get back to the classroom and their friends and their routines, others, well, they're feeling stressed and anxious about it.
So joining us today is Wendy Kozlowski, the clinical director at Pathlight Mood and Anxiety Center in Round Rock. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we want to jump right in. What are some of the main sources of this type of anxiety for kids as they head back to the classroom, and how can parents maybe pick up on it, start to recognize it?
Absolutely. Whether your child is going into pre-K or graduate school, back to school is stressful for most of us. And so it's really important to think about things like your family's temperament, your child's temperament. All of those things can organically impact how we respond to normal stressors. Without anxiety, we will struggle to perform and engage socially. But with too much, it really hijacks our brain and can get in the way of our normal functioning.
So, Wendy, I have kids, so I know the routine. How was your day? Good. What did you do? Nothing. So you need to be able to tailor your questions for your children so you can get into their mind and see what's actually going on. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to do that is to ask open-ended questions. Instead of how was your day, who did you sit with at lunch? Is there anything that was stressful about today? What are your thoughts about your teachers? Are all great questions to get more than it was fine. And if you get it was fine, okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me? And making space for them to come to you on their own time and not have additional pressures can be very helpful.
So should you, on those lines, should you force it? Like if they are being very stunted in their answers and just the fine and the yes and the no, should you probe more if you feel like they're not really up to it?
Well, anxiety looks different for everybody. And so I would say that depends on your family what can be most helpful. I know my defense is to go to playfulness and be silly and playful. With some teenagers, you will get the wrong reaction for being playful, right? And so knowing your kid and knowing those different reactions can be helpful. And if you get stuck, Pathlight has a lot of different caregiver skills and parent support groups and tips and tricks. You can access all of those on our website and videos and different ways to talk to families and your children.
Yeah, we know this is really a whole family affair. This is not just about kids, but parents too, siblings, everybody involved. How do you transition really the whole family back into the back to school routine?
Think of SMART goals. We want specific, relatable, reliable things that we know small steps are going to increase our success. So rather than expecting us all to be on time every day of this week, making sure we build in buffers for the things that can come up. I know I had a lot of back to school traffic this morning on my way to work, and that can increase my stress and anxiety. Not at all about this, but how do I then communicate to my loved ones and communicate that stress forward? How are they seeing me cope with and model coping with anxiety?
There will be days when our kids will get up in the morning and they just won't want to go to school. And you know, that's normal, right? Because there are days when we get up in the morning and we just don't want to go to work.
Absolutely.
But how do you know if it's something deeper? They're not wanting to go to school because of stress, because of something big.
One of the things I like to implement is mental health days. There are 3 days in a semester that my child can take off for a mental health day without questions. If we get beyond that, or if, after the first month to 6 weeks of school, the transition is not taking and things are not going well, those are all really good indicators that we're needing to seek outside help. I would say additionally, if it's impacting their functioning or their ability to build relationships, not just performance in school, but the other things that we're learning. Are really important to think about. Absolutely.
Yeah, connections and all of that. Reasons we go back to school too. It's more than just the homework, right?
Yeah, but this is your child's job, and so it's helpful to think about the fact that we also have very similar feelings that they are having, and that is very normal.
It's good to normalize it for them, because I remember when I was a child, I never wanted to miss school even when I was sick or anything, because I felt obligated to go. I mean, I know I was very different. That's kind of weird, but,
absolutely.
but that's how I was.
You bring up a great point in that when it's really important that we validate and normalize these experiences for our children, but a lot of parents resist validating because we think we're acknowledging that fear and giving it power, but the opposite is true. It makes sense that you would be nervous to go back to school. Last year was stressful and you had a rupture with your friend group. this is a great opportunity for us to have a fresh start, or really building into why it makes sense for them rather than for us or when we were, that can really help open up those lines of communication.
Such important conversations. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we hope that all the families out there have some tools to head back to school with.
Have a great year.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.